Hello. Hi, welcome to a Silent Tale podcast hosted by I Can Always. Just give me 2 seconds. Let me grab the host for you. If you just want to grab a cup of tea or coffee, whatever you like, and we'll be right with you.
The host will be with you shortly. Your call is important to us. Host will be with you shortly. Your call is important to us.
Hey, welcome to another episode of A Silent Tale. This podcast is all about bringing to the surface some of the silent topics that we don't necessarily speak about, hoping to touch that person that is, maybe at home right now and you're feeling depressed or you're feeling slow in motivation and you just need some strength. You just need to hear a voice that's letting you know that you can do this, even if you do it 1 minute at a time, even if you only complete one task today, it is okay. Now, last week, of course, I came on and I spoke about why 2021 will be your year, and I gave you some tips. So I really hope if you're listening to this and you've listened to the previous episode, then I hope you have been actioning some of these things and applying them to your life, because I really want us to get practical. I really want us to start applying some of these things on a day-to-day basis to see the best results. I don't believe that it is enough for you to just come and listen and be motivated for the day, but I really want you to go away and say, you know what, I'm about to change my life. I'm about to turn my silent tale into a loud tale, because I am going to influence cities. I am going to influence community. I'm going to influence my workplace, my family, because I am becoming a better version of myself just because I'm putting in the work. I'm investing in time listening to a podcast, and that's what I want. That's what we want. That's what it is. So last week I said why 2021 will be your year, and we spoke about do it anyway. Do it afraid, do it grieving, do it when things are really tough, when you're locked, when you're locked down, when you're locked in, and also stop saying later. Do it right now. It shouldn't be something that you put in the back burner and you kind of come back to it when you think, I don't have anything better to do. But it should be something that you should prioritize, yourself in a way that is going to allow you to make an impact in community and with family and so forth. And reprioritizing, figuring out what is really important to you, not what society tells you is important, not what your family members tell you is important or your friends are making to be important, or what social media is saying is important, but what is important to you in this season. And remember, your priorities will always change. That's why reprioritizing is so important. What was the priority to you last week might not be a priority for you in this week. Last month, not the same as this month. So reprioritizing. Now, as we move on to this next it's going to be a series. I'm going to do a few podcasts around this because it's really chunky, it's really meaty, and I want us to dive into exploring every part of it. And this topic is going to be the importance of self. Now, it will start off with me explaining, of course, why are you important? Why are you important? You are important. And what makes you important? I think a lot of the times we look in the mirror and we have these affirmations, but it's about taking those affirmations and now finding the depth in it. It's, I'm passionate. But what am I passionate about? Why am I passionate? Where does this passion come from? And so I want us to start diving deep. And so today we are going to focus on the importance of self, really understanding the why, really understanding some of the areas we need to look at to start to have a better understanding of the why. Now, I remember growing up, I remember when I was a teenager, I was living a YOLO lifestyle. I was I was about it, about it. I was about it. I was oh, especially my uni days. I really I had fun. No, first year I really enjoyed. You know, enjoyment. I really enjoyed, but it was a worldly type of enjoyment that still left me alone in my bedroom, crying myself to sleep because there was just no, I was not content. I was not content, and I would question my importance on this earth. I would question, why me? What makes me different? What makes me special? What makes, someone to want to be my friend? What makes someone to want to be my boyfriend and then later a husband? What makes me me? And I didn't quite understand it. And so I was searching for that, even if it wasn't so obvious like that, the way I've articulated it now at that point. It did get to a point where I went to Zimbabwe, and it was for my granddad's memorial. And I think his passing really sunk in with me because he was like a father to me. I grew up with him. He used to pick me up at school. He taught me a lot of things that are still very valuable to me today. And when I lost him, I realized that when I moved to the UK, I never I mean, of course, when I first moved, there was no real means for me to do so. But when I did have the means, I prioritized other things, and I never reached out to him. I never called him. I never checked up on him. I didn't know how he was. I couldn't remember the last time I heard his voice. And it gets me so emotional sometimes thinking about it, because I was grieving from a place of guilt. And I also started to look at my cousins, and I realized I wasn't doing enough for them. I was wasting my life away. I was so deep in self. I was so deep in my problems, and life is so unfair to me, and it was all about me, and it was never about the people that raised me, the people that sacrificed so much for me, the people that's, for me to be here is because of them, and what am I giving back to them? And so I had to think, not that we make ourselves important, but we define our own importance. We define our own importance, because if you're everything about yourself and nothing for anybody else, then people could say, oh, you know what, you don't really add value to me. I believe that we're on this earth to add value to each other. That's why some people have certain strengths and some people have certain weaknesses that when they're together, you see a growth, you see an elevation, because the one that has the strength is feeding the one that has the weakness, and it's not always like one is better than the other. No, it just means that we've had different life experiences that when we come together, we share them. That's why when we look at the UK now, look at how many restaurants that are not just focused on English food. You have your Indian, you have your Mexican, you have your Chinese, you have different cuisines, because there was an exchange of, this is our strength. We are stronger in curries, we're stronger in stir fries, we're stronger in enchiladas. So let's exchange. And I think there is this, we think sometimes if someone is better at something than us, then that makes us less important. But we have to figure out, well, why am I important? What is it that I'm strong at that I can use to add value to this person whilst they're adding value to me? It's an exchange. It's a constant exchange. But in order to do that, we have to find ourselves in a specific area in life. We have to understand self. Now, I'm gonna give you 3 tips of how you can maximize self. And this is just for today, and we'll go deeper in the next few weeks to come. So I really want to start by an anchor scripture, which is Matthew 22 verse 39b. It's 2 lines, but just the second line. Love your neighbor as yourself. Now, we are all in community one way or another. Being in friendship is being in community. Being in family is being in community. Being at work is being in community. When your neighbors are your community. So the community that you're with, you have to operate from a place of love. Now, people think that love is just, oh my gosh, I've got this deep yearning for love. Oh my gosh, and I can choose to feel that feeling or not. But I think that love is action. Because when we look at the attributes of love, when we look at the fact that love is kind, love is gentle, love is patient, it means that you are kind, you are gentle, you are patient. You're not easily angered. And so we have to look at ourselves to say, self, are you kind? Are you slow to anger? Are you patient with other people that might not have certain strengths the way that you have them? Are you accommodating? Are you inviting? Are you generous? And in order to give those things, in order to give kindness, patience, generosity, all of these things, you have to start with self. Are you kind to yourself? There are a lot of people that look in the mirror, oh, I'm fat. Or, oh, I'm really ugly. Oh, I don't like to take pictures because I don't really like how I look. Put me in front of a camera. I'm like, pow, pow, pow. Yes, give it to me. I'm like, listen, you have to get to a point where you're so in love with yourself that it's not arrogant, but it's just knowing that, you know what, I know I have flaws, but I'm okay with my flaws because I know that I am thriving to do better. The issue with, I know I have flaws, it's just the way that it is. When you say that it's just the way that it is, that means you don't have a desire to transform and be changed and to grow with those that are around you. People come to you, people are in community with you for us to grow together. So we have to have, and it takes me to my second point, we have to have a growth mindset that says, I love myself, I'm content with myself the way that I am, but hey, I know that I'm a little short-tempered. So I want to make sure that I get to a point where I'm more patient. I'm going to put my hand up. Mine was and slightly still is, I'm easily offended. Someone will say something and I'll be like, hold on, wait a minute. It's a chopper. No, that's not what I say. But I get into the space where I'm like, so like, what are you trying to say? So do you mean that? So this whole time you thought, okay. So you know, like that easy offense that someone will kind of bring criticism, and I'm just like getting onto the defensive side. So I had to really learn to listen, take it on board, and say thank you. Listen, take it on board, thank you. And I want to get better at actually letting the other person know, I'm going to go away and I'm going to pray about it and see how I can do better in this area. I'm not there yet. I'm still kind of like petty with it. I'm just like, okay, thank you. And I do want to get better, and you have to have that growth mindset. And I'm here being vulnerable with mine so that you can be vulnerable with yours. And frankly, I don't really care if you judge me or you say, oh, okay, so she's here talking about. No, I'm still growing. I would be lying if I said I still didn't have areas where I still needed to grow, because that ain't facts. That's not a fact. So I think we have to get better at having a growth mindset, knowing that we are still growing and accepting that we are still growing, and being open to find opportunities to grow. Because there is a difference with, yeah, I want to grow, I want to do better. And then you get there and then you're not really open to the opportunity, or you're not finding opportunities to grow. I journal a lot. So a lot of the times I look at, oh, this, I celebrate myself for the things that are going well. And then I look at, okay, but what could be better? What could I improve on? How can I be a better person? How could I have showed up better in that conversation? Not obviously obsessing on it, but having regular check-ins with myself. And making sure that I am remaining committed to the cause. Which takes me to my third point. Be committed to yourself. The reason why it's such a struggle for us to be as supportive to other people, for example, cancelling on people last minute, or maybe not respecting other people's time, or you make a commitment to go see someone and then you don't make a commitment, but you just say, oh, we should meet up. The fact that the reason why that never happens is because you're making commitments to yourself that you're not keeping up with. So it's so much easier for you to not be committed to other people. And I know that's not so pleasing for us to hear, right? Like, oh, I'm committed to myself. How many times have we said, okay, I can only speak to myself, but if you can relate, I'm in the boat with you. How many times have we said, I'm gonna start exercising tomorrow? I'm committed this time. Honestly, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna put my trainers on, my gym. The thing is, we go to the extent of even buying the exercise clothes. We've committed to ourselves that I'm going to be healthier in this season. I'm gonna eat my vegetables, I'm gonna eat my fruit, drink my water, mind my business. And then comes to it, we're like, hold up, wait a minute. So I'm just going to indulge in this breakfast, sleep, take a nap, wake up, and just chill. We have to, and I know that's kind of like me being over the top, but I believe there are people who really do that. I've been guilty of it now and again. But those kind of commitment, we make commitments to ourselves. I remember the first time I heard it was Lisa Nichols in one of her interviews. She says, we make better commitments for other people than we do for ourselves. And sometimes we commit to other people and then resent them for the commitment we made, because maybe we've taken time away that we needed to reboot or to recenter or to really look after our health. It's not to say that you shouldn't be there for other people, but if you find that you're someone who easily, don't keep up to your commitments with things, majority of the time it's because you're not really having a good habit with committing to things for yourself. Because when you get into the habit of being committed and consistent, I have to add that. Commitment and consistency are one and the same. Because the fact that you're committed to something that's long term, for example, committing to, so I remember this, right? Like something, I asked a few of my friends, yeah. And this is no shade. It just is that the way that things work. I asked a few of my friends. I had an addiction that I wanted to stop doing. And I said, guys, I really, really need your help. Can you keep me accountable to help me come out of this. So check up on me. Let me know which one is best, whether it's every week or every month, to check up on me. So I asked 4 of them. Yeah. I asked 4 of them. One of them committed, and then I think she did it once, and then it just stopped. And then the other one did it a few times, about a month. Yeah, cool. And then it stopped. The other one, I think they all did it for the first week or so, and then it started to dwindle down. And then there was one friend that did last longer. She did last a bit longer, and then she started having her own challenges, and so that kind of dwindled down as well. So you can see that, not to say that they struggle with commitment with it, for themselves, but it's possible. Oh no, they do. Okay, they're my friends. I love them, but they committed something to me, and then they didn't follow through with it. And it's not to say that they're bad friends. It's not to say that they're not, interested in being with, in supporting me or anything like that. It's just that to them, what I was going through, or how can I explain it? Commitment is a struggle. Consistency rather is a struggle, because you can commit to something, but are you remaining consistent with it? And I think that's the case in this situation, where there was no real consistency to the commitment that they made to me. But I also have to look at myself and think, well, how many things have I committed to that I haven't been consistent with? And it all starts with self. For me to, if a friend of mine comes and says, hey, I want you to keep me accountable to this, I have to make sure that when I'm making that commitment, how good am I at committing to things myself? Because I would rather not make the commitment if I know that I'm not going to be consistent. It's better that I start being consistent with the things that I promised myself to do. So, okay, I said I'm going to start that business. Now I need to remain consistent with it. Okay, I committed to myself that I'm going to drink water every day. I have to be consistent with it. Yes, there will be difficult days we fall off, but we have to continue trying, because it's better for you to fall off and then pick yourself back up after a while, when you know that at least I've tried. There is this mentality that we're losing and we're missing out, because a lot of the times the reasons why we're not seeing fruit flowing out of us is because we are trying to get into a space where we are committing to ourselves and then not remaining consistent and expecting to see results. That cannot happen, because the moment that you fall off, you have to immediately say, you know what, I didn't do so well today. I'm going to try again tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow you don't do it. You pick yourself back up and you say, the next day I'm going to try. Because the breakthrough is out of you continuously saying, I will try again tomorrow. Because when you say, I will try later, or if you give yourself that time, you become complacent and you pick up habits and you kind of eradicate the habits you've been building up from the commitment that you initially made. So now you're finding yourself in this space where you're not necessarily giving yourself opportunity to remain consistent with what you committed in the first place. I really just went into a flow, because I really feel there is something there. There is that element of us wanting fruits, wanting to see results, wanting to see better friendships, wanting to see ourselves serve the community, wanting to see us elevate in our career, but yet we're committing to doing the work, but we're not remaining consistent with it. You are important. You are the vehicle that is going to bring about the change that you want to see within yourself, that you want to see within your family, that you want to see within community. And everything that is going to flow out of you is going to create a huge impact. And it all starts with you, meaning you are important. You are important. You are the difference between just living out your life and then everybody kind of saying, oh yeah, she was cool. I don't really remember what kind of impact she had on my life, but she was all right. Or he was an interesting person. I didn't really know him that well. We didn't really speak much, but he was a quiet person. Personally, when I leave this earth, I want my neighbor to say, I remember the day when we had XYZ conversation and she made me laugh. Or I want, any job that I've been to. Oh, I really remember her. She was hardworking. She was committed. She was consistent. And the thing is, it's not about what people think about us, because that's another thing I'll come back to, which is the fear of men, fearing what people will say. I don't think it's not about that. It's about making an impact enough that when people remember you, whether alive or dead, that they will remember you and say, wow, I really like what she did. I would like to be like her, or I would like to be like him. I was inspired by the way he did X, Y, Z. Because the thing is, people are watching. Whether you live alone, your neighbor is watching. The people you meet at the bus stop are watching. The people you meet in the underground are watching. When they see you be a certain way, people are inspired and they want to know more. They are drawn to you because of your persona. Drawn to you because you've made yourself, and you're standing with yourself saying, I am important. I didn't come here just to chill. I didn't come on this earth just to move along and have this life that has no meaning, but I will create meaning by the way that I present myself. I will create meaning by the way I wake up in the morning, and I'm committed to make sure that the day that I have will be the best day, will be a better day than yesterday. That's a great commitment to have, by the way, where we commit to having a better day than yesterday. We don't commit to making a year's time better, but what is that micro goal that I can put in place to make today a better day than yesterday? It could be, I want to wake up an hour earlier than I did yesterday, and you make an effort with that, and that's it. That's all you need to do for that day. Oh, I want to have a healthier breakfast than I did yesterday. And then the next day you say, actually, I want to have an even better breakfast than I had yesterday. We think about change in a macro way. I think about change in a micro way, because I've seen the way that it has an impact. It has had an impact on my life. It has been something that I've not necessarily needed to, how can I explain it? I've not focused so much on my life in a year's time. I have, in a sense of, I will write a letter to myself in a year's time, and I'll say, oh, I would really love to be here. And so subconsciously it's sunk in where I want to be. But for me to get there, there's some things that I need to do right now towards that goal. And so I've often found that when I've read my journal from, let's say, the beginning of the year and the end of the year, I'm like, whoa, I really met my target. Why? Because I didn't focus so much on having the end goal. Of course, you start with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says in his book, 7 Habits. And no, this is not like a promotion, not at all. It's a book that I highly recommend. 7 Habits of a Highly Effective Person. He talks about start with the end in mind. And so I start with the end in mind. And then I think to myself, but what are the micro goals that are going to take me there? What can I do today that will take me one step closer? All you need to be is one step closer. That's all you need to do. And so you are important. Learn to love yourself so that you can love your neighbor better. You can love your neighbor out of overflow, not out of lack. That you can love your neighbor with all kindness because you've learned to be kind to yourself. That you can love your neighbor with patience because you've learned to be patient with yourself. And have a growth mindset, knowing that if you have certain shortcomings, that you're not just, you can be content with self, but you are thriving to do better. You're thriving to be at a better level than you are right now, so that you can show up better for your neighbor, for your community, for your family, for your partner, and be committed to self. Commit to yourself, be consistent with yourself so that you can be committed and consistent to other people. You can be committed and consistent to your career, to just creating change or whatever it is that you want to do. It all starts with you. And when I say that, I'm aware that sometimes we can take it to the extreme where you kind of discard other people and you make it all about you. It's not all about you. You are the vehicle to helping somebody out there. You know, when I think about the coronavirus and the economic downfall we've had, I think, how can I be a better person so that I can help those that might be suffering for a while? We're not out of the woods yet, and frankly, I don't know when we're going to be okay, especially from an economical point of view. I think 12,000 people lost their jobs in one day. So many stores shut down. So there are a lot of people who are at risk of homelessness. Because when coronavirus finishes, the majority of the benefits that they've been receiving during this time will finish. I've had friends that have been furloughed, that have lost jobs, that have experienced really challenging and difficult situations. Friends that have lost loved ones. And so for me to be there for them, because I don't even need to start with community, I just need to start with my closest family and friends. How can I show up for them? And for me to show up for them, I have to be in a place where I'm a better version of me. And it's not to say I wait for that. I keep trying to help, but I also keep trying to improve. They work hand in hand. And so the focus is not on self, but the focus is on realizing that self is a vehicle towards change in someone else's life. The focus is on the importance of self in order to just listen to somebody who needs it. There are so many silent tales out there of people who are crying themselves to sleep because they don't know how they're going to make ends meet tomorrow. Or people, I've heard stories, and they're not far from home. It's, a friend of my mom's who lost a mother, a father, and a brother, all in a similar time period throughout last year and this year. Oh, so painful. I cannot imagine. And I just start to think like that person needs good people around her, because her family is gone and now she needs comfort. Not just the kind of comfort that says we'll be there for you for the funeral, we'll send you a message, but hey, I'm just randomly checking up on you. How are you doing? How can I support you? What can I help you with? And in order to be in a place where we are thinking about other people, it's because we've learned to check in on ourselves. We've learned to recognize that if I need this, that means somebody else needs it too. What we go through is not simply isolated to us, but it also extends to those around us. We are all living a life that has its own, we each experience our own tragedies. Your situation might be different to the next person, but everybody has their fair share of struggle. How can we be there for each other? How can we improve each other? And you are important because you can speak life into someone else who's about to commit suicide. And I went there because we we kind of don't like to talk about suicide because it's like a swear word. We only talk about it like, oh, like 10% of people have committed suicide, but we don't necessarily. And when we say suicide, we're like, suicide. We don't really like talk about it explicitly, and that's the reason for this podcast, because we need to. We need to think about, I am important because I am the difference between someone else ending their life because they feel they have no one who is checking up on them. And sometimes we think we need to do these extra gestures. No, just giving them a call is enough. Just dropping them a text is enough. Just delivering groceries to their house because they can't leave the house because they're quarantined is enough. And so you are important, and I cannot stress it enough. You have a purpose that is bigger than yourself, because we were created to be in community, to support each other, to be generous to one another, to just love on each other. Oh, the love of just community is great. I mentor some college kids all over the world. Some are in Kenya, India, like Asia, America. And I see that when they share their testimonies, they always say their lives changed when they came into community together. A platform, a place where they can share and they can say, guys, I'm really struggling with this. And they see their counterparts joining, encouraging them. They have an Instagram group chat, and I just see the way they love on each other, the way they miss each other when they don't see each other for a while. And they've never met. It's so crazy. They've never met. I've never met them apart from seeing them on Zoom. But there is this love that is shared, that they share with each other that is so beautiful. And every single one of them is important because they bring something special to the table, even when they don't realize it. Sometimes they say things that even encourage me, that even help me. But when they look at themselves in the mirror, they don't see it. And so then now I'm important because I get to remind them. I get to share my story with them so that they can be inspired. I get to just be me and look after me. And they see and they watch and they like, wow, I really love the way that you do this, or the way that you do XYZ. When I heard one of the girls talk about it the first time, I was really surprised because I didn't realize that was something that she even took a note of. And so you are important. Community is important, and we all need each other. We all need one another. We all need, there is a saying that I have on my journals, which is better you, better universe. Because when you're a better version of yourself, you're a better version for your universe, for those around you, for your inner circle, and extending to your outer circle. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you for another week of your time. And I hope this has encouraged you. I hope you can go away and really start asking yourself, what makes me important? And do I have a growth mindset? And what does growth look like for me? And what are some of the things that I have committed to that I really need to be consistent with for myself? And then just do that exercise as often as you can for a certain period of time, because the first time you ask yourself, you kind of have a vague idea, but when you read it back and you kind of read back what you've written in your journal, and you meditate on it and you think deeper into it, you will find that there will be more that will come out for you. So I encourage you this week, or whenever you listen to, this week, to just dive deeper into those questions. So don't let your life be a silent tale, but instead let it be the loudest tale that will be spoken about from generation to generation to generation. Guys, it's been great, and I don't know, like I kind of made that last bit up, like the whole silent tale. I'm trying to weave in the podcast name into the podcast. So let's see where it gets us. Let's see what happens. And I just want to let you guys know, I Can Always store is opening up on the 29th of January 2021. So if you're listening to this, still go on, because I'm pretty sure we'll have new products. But for now, we're launching healing journals, wellness journals, and notebooks. And there is just I am so excited, because I shared last time that when I launched these, I cried, because it was just something that I've really wanted to do for a really long time. And when I tried, it just wasn't coming together. But when I put God at the center of it, it's just all just boom, flourished. So I am in the preparation right now of trying to get that launched, and let's see how it goes. Hopefully in a month's time, in a year's time, I will be giving an update of how that year has gone, in terms of going from launching to, getting to a place where I'm creating more and more journals, more and more things that are going to support people and guide people through their journey of healing, their journey of self-awareness, their journey of wellness in general. So yes, icanalways.co.uk, and I Can Always is just one word, icanalways.co.uk/shop /store. Try one or the other, because I haven't quite decided. And do let me know, message me and let me know, what do you prefer, the word store or the word shop? Because I've been battling with that. I've been trying to figure out, like, what do I prefer, shop or store? Anyway, I've already taken too much of your time. I really look forward to speaking to you next week, because next week we're going to dive into passion and purpose. Really looking at, okay, now you understand that you're important, but what is passion and what is purpose? How do you even solidify yours? You might know it, but how do you kind of first find it, for those that don't? And also, how do you begin to walk in it, be rooted in it, and so forth? So follow me on A Silent Tale Podcast on Instagram. That's all I have. Or I Can Always on Instagram and on Facebook. And what else do I have to plug in? I don't have anything else. But yeah, if I do, it's probably going to be in the show notes. So thank you. I will see you again next week. Bye.